of 30 and 70. I also see pediatric patients. I usually work a lot with women's hormones, gastrointestinal health, mental health. They tend to be all connected. So when you're working with one,
Yes.
Okay, well, it's now 7:30.
Your life.
Yes, so a pleasant good evening and an alive welcome to this Feel Alive Everyday webinar. My name is Dr. Howard Chinfad. I'm the president of H&G Enterprises, the regional distributor for Nature's Way. We'd first like to inform you that this webinar is sponsored by Nature's Way and hosted by H&G Enterprises, Nature's Discount, as well as Oduber Agencies. We'd also like to acknowledge that we have guests from many islands of the Caribbean as well, so we'd therefore like to say welcome to them as well. Before we begin the presentation entitled Importance of Vitamins and Minerals in General Health, a little about our presenter, Amy Doyle. She's a board-certified nutrition specialist. She holds a master's degree in applied clinical nutrition and is a proud owner of Whitestone Wellness, a private practice in New York, USA. Let's give a warm Caribbean welcome to our presenter, Amy Doyle. Amy, you have the floor.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to share my screen so that you can follow along with me here. Okay. Again, my name is Amy Doyle. Thank you for that warm welcome. And I have a practice again in New York State. I'm about 4 hours north of New York City. I've been in private practice for almost 10 years, and I've been serving as a consultant for Nature's Way for almost 3 years now. Some of the other work that I've done, I've been a professor of nutrition at a local college here in my area. And one of the things that I love about this part of what I do as an educator and as a consultant and presenter is I believe that the more that we know the why and the how behind the things that we put in our body and how they affect our health, the better decisions that we can make on a day-to-day basis, and the more that we can empower people with that information. And I'm a little jealous that this is not an in-person presentation tonight, because where I am right now, it's about 38 degrees Fahrenheit, which if we convert that to Celsius, it's about 3 degrees Celsius here, and we are expecting snow. So I'm kind of wishing that we were in person today so that I could enjoy the warm weather there. Our agenda tonight is we will be talking about the master brand, Nature's Way, and I will also be covering the topic of our dietary recommendations so we can understand those. What are some nutrient needs? I'll be talking about the importance of nutrients in general health, what it looks like to have inadequate intake of those nutrients, some of the groups that are at risk of that. And then we will be rounding out tonight's presentation, focusing on the Alive line of multivitamins, which is one of the Nature's Way brands. For more than 50 years, Nature's Way has been driven by one mission, and that is to help people everywhere live healthy lives. Nature's Way has a culture of care. For us, it's more than just about products. It's about helping others embrace wellness from the inside out. We have a passion for health, both for ourselves and for the people who make Nature's Way products a part of their life. Quality is a part of everything that Nature's Way does. We go above and beyond in our sourcing and testing. From source to shelf, creating high quality, effective products is our North Star. For all of Nature's Way products, the focus has always been on safety and relying on proof of product effectiveness. As a trusted leader in quality, we know that quality is not defined by any one ingredient, test, or seal of approval. Quality means working together at every step to ensure that we bring you exceptional products to support your personal wellness journey. From global sourcing to meticulous manufacturing, we raise the bar not just for ourselves, but for the entire supplement industry. While many of our ingredients have been researched, it's vitally important to us to strike a balance between traditional wellness products and modern science. So this makes us a unique dietary supplement company that can offer traditional wellness products as well as those that are backed by science. We're confident in our products because of the vast quality-related efforts, including our sourcing, our manufacturing expertise, our detailed documentation of everything, the significant level of product testing, communication on our product labels, and our third-party certifications. So in looking at nutrient recommendations, we have something called dietary reference intakes. And these are standards that have been developed in the United States and Canada, and they set nutrient intake recommendations for things like vitamins and minerals, carbohydrates, lipids and proteins, fiber, water, and energy. And some of the subcategories of these DRIs, or dietary reference intakes, are the RDA and daily values. So RDAs are recommended nutrient intakes that are based on solid experimental evidence and observation. And these nutrient intakes are designed to meet 97 to 98% of the needs of healthy people. The daily values, these are found on food labels. So while they reflect the highest nutrient need among all the population, they're not nutrient intake goals for individuals. What they allow us to do is compare label to label. So we can look at the daily value on a product, whether it's a food, a vitamin, or a mineral or a supplement product, and we can compare the daily value amounts in each of those products. So the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and Agriculture work together, and they update and publish every 5 years the dietary guidelines. Now, this is a focus on addresses problems of overnutrition and undernutrition, and it gives guidelines and advice on what to eat and drink to meet nutrient goals, as well as promote health and prevent disease. So the recent published 2020 to 25 dietary guidelines for Americans recommends that adults consume 1.5 to 2 cups of fruits and 2 to 3 cups of vegetables per day. So how are we doing with that recommendation? Are Americans meeting these recommendations? Well, sadly, overall adherence to the US dietary guidelines are low. The majority of Americans do not follow a healthy eating pattern. And although it's recommended that we consume as much as 2 cups of fruits and 2 to 3 cups of vegetables per day, only 1 in 10 US adults are consuming that amount. So this can lead to shortfalls and in the intake of essential vitamins and minerals. And this low intake is noted by the Center for Disease Control to cause an underconsumption of these important nutrients. Some of those nutrients being potassium, dietary fiber, choline, some minerals like magnesium and calcium. And then on the bottom of the screen here, you can see vitamins D, E, A, and C. We see that 94% of Americans do not meet the daily intake requirement for vitamin D. We see 88.5% do not meet the daily intake recommendation for vitamin E. And then you can see the amounts here for vitamins A and vitamin C. So when we talk about micronutrient inadequacies and inadequate intake, what we mean is that the intake is above the levels that would be associated with deficiency. However, it's less than the estimated average requirement. The estimated average requirement is just another recommended intake, and it's an intake level that was established to meet the needs of at least 50% of the population. So if we spend a minute here on minerals, there's inadequate intake in America when it comes to our minerals. Minerals are vital components of our food, and the government has also established recommended daily allowances, or RDAs, for many of our minerals. They fulfill a wide variety of functions, like building materials for our bones, influencing muscle and nerve function, and regulating water balance. So some minerals that are considered nutrients of concern are potassium and calcium. And so why is it that there's an inadequate intake in America? Well, there's 3 reasons here. One is our standard American diet. The reason for that is it's found in low amounts in the types of food that are found in the standard American diet. Minerals are found in our fruits and vegetables primarily, and in some of our animal products. Also, diets that are restricted, like vegetarian or vegan diets. So I have found that a lot of my patients personally that are maybe brand new vegetarians or come to me looking to have a healthier vegetarian diet, most of their diet is white. They eat a lot of grains, they eat a lot of breads and pastas and rice and things like that. And there's not a lot of color. They're missing a lot of important nutrients. But what's also a concern is something called phytates. And these are compounds that are present in our whole grain breads, our cereals, our legumes, and other foods. And what they can actually do is they can bind to certain minerals in the food. That's what the phytates do. And they can inhibit their absorption by the body. And so that way, those minerals are actually excreted rather than absorbed. So what that means is the absorption of many minerals from grains and plant foods is lower than that from animal foods. So vegetarians sometimes require as much as 50% more of the RDA in minerals like zinc than non-vegetarians. And in looking at digestive disorders or malabsorption, I'll touch on those a little bit later, but if someone has digestive disorders that cause malabsorption, an inadequate intake of minerals can be a concern. So just touching quickly on the difference between, we talked about what inadequate intake looks at. It's not a deficiency, but it doesn't meet the recommendations. But we also have something called frank deficiency and subclinical deficiency. So a frank deficiency would be where there is a presentation of disease as a result of a deficiency in a nutrient. An example of this would be vitamin C deficiency could result in scurvy. A subclinical deficiency is one that's not detected in a routine blood test, but there is a reduction in physiological, cellular, and biochemical function. And you'll see what that looks like when we discuss minerals like calcium, magnesium, and iron. One of the questions that I get sometimes just as soon as I let somebody know that I'm a nutritionist, one of the things that they might do if I'm at a social event, they might cover their plate and they might say, oh, don't judge what I'm eating. Or they might say, do I really need a multivitamin if I already eat healthy? And what I tell that person and what I tell every single one of my patients is that quality nutrition is not just what we eat. It's important that our body is able to, number one, digest, which means break down the food that we eat. We also need to be able to absorb the food that we eat. Quality nutrition is also reflected in how our bodies use those nutrients that we've absorbed at the cellular level and at the tissue level, but also how well our body is able to eliminate the things that our body does not want or need after we've consumed food. So if there's impairment in any of these areas of digestion, absorption, utilization, or elimination, then quality nutrition is not just the food that we eat, and there can be a breakdown in our health because of that. Also, remember that the nutrient intake standards, those dietary reference intakes that have been established for healthy people. They do not take into consideration the effects of medication use, illness or malabsorption, chronic stress. They don't take account for the interactions between individual vitamins and minerals, and they also don't factor in lifestyle. So we know that there's medications like antacids and corticosteroids, and these can reduce the absorption of calcium and increase its excretion from the body. And chronic stress is associated with inadequate intake of several nutrients like zinc, magnesium, and calcium. And our body's stress response uses large amounts of vitamin C and B vitamins as well. In regards to the synergistic relationship between some vitamins, vitamin D, magnesium, and calcium all have a synergistic relationship where the inadequate intake of one can affect the absorption or the utilization of the body by another. And looking at lifestyle and physical activity, athletes who engage in endurance sports and who do not consume enough calories are at risk of inadequate intake of certain nutrients. Athletes tend to consume low amounts of vitamin D in their diet. And female athletes who engage in endurance sports may have a 70% increase in a need for iron over the estimated average requirements. Looking a little further at another lifestyle factor, what this study did is the researchers wanted to compare the nutrient intake between smokers versus non-smokers. And what they discovered when they did a dietary recall over the course of 3 years with a large group of 188 individuals, 140 were smokers, and 48 of them were non-smokers. And what they looked at is each of those individuals over the course of 3 years, as they recruited these individuals, did a dietary recall. And so they did some comparisons and multiple testing to determine the nutrient status of those foods that they ate. And what they discovered, compared to non-smokers, the smokers reported lower intakes of energy, meaning calories, total polyunsaturated fatty acids, linolenic acid, DHA, total sugars, and minerals like calcium, iron, magnesium, phosphorus, potassium, vitamin C, and almost all of the B vitamins here, as well as vitamin A and vitamin E. Interestingly, chronic smoking also, if we look at folate, which is an important B vitamin, chronic smoking also diminishes folate status and affects the body's ability to actively use folate. They also discovered that smokers report reduced compliance with the DRI for iron, phosphorus, vitamin C, riboflavin, and folate compared to non-smokers. So again, let's circle back to how are we doing? If we look at what the dietary guidelines for Americans have published in 2020 to 2025, the nutrients of concern among adults and adolescents are potassium, vitamin D, and calcium, but teenagers also have underconsumed nutrients. They have low intakes of magnesium, phosphorus, and choline, and teenage girls specifically have low dietary intake of iron, folate, vitamin B6, and B12. So among those individuals that actually consume multivitamins, minerals, and supplements, what is their driving health concern behind those purchases? Well, overall health is a top concern for vitamins, minerals, and supplement users, with 32% taking these products for this benefit. And in 2020 alone, the number of buyers, both the number of buyers and the frequency of purchasing of vitamins, minerals, and supplements grew in 2020 due to this concern for overall health. So our vitamins can be broken down into two categories. We have our fat-soluble vitamins and our water-soluble vitamins. So our fat-soluble vitamins are what you see here, vitamins A, D, E, and K, and these are found in the fats and oils of foods as well as some vegetables, and they're not readily excreted. So the body handles fat-soluble vitamins differently than water-soluble vitamins. Because they are fat-soluble, they're not readily excreted in the urine. They can build up in tissues. They're stored in the liver and the fat tissues. And absorption of fat-soluble vitamins depends on a person's ability to digest and absorb fats. So it's important to note that someone who consumes a very low-fat diet or who has malabsorption of fats may have an increased risk of inadequate intake or deficiency of these vitamins. So our water-soluble vitamins, these include our 8B vitamins that you see here, along with vitamin C. And because they're water-soluble, they generally cannot be stored in the body. The exception of this is vitamin B12. Small amounts can be stored. They are excreted via the urine, and they're sensitive to light and heat. So what this means is that cooking can actually cause leaching of some of the nutrients out of your foods, of the B vitamins and vitamin C. Now, B vitamins act as coenzymes or helpers. These are our helper vitamins. So an enzyme is a substance that acts like a catalyst to speed up or to initiate a process in the body. So as coenzymes or helpers in the body, B vitamins have two primary functions. The first is energy releasing, and the second is blood cell building. So by energy releasing, in other words, they help turn proteins, carbohydrates, and fats that we consume into fuel for the body. And they help build and maintain our blood cells, which primarily are our red blood cells. And looking at minerals, minerals are inorganic compounds that are originally found in the earth and in the soil. And because they're in our soil, they then make their way into the plants that we eat and the water that we drink. So an example of this, of a mineral showing up in our water, maybe you're familiar with sulfur being found in groundwater or well water. It has that sulfur smell, which smells very much like a rotten egg. That's an example of a mineral content found in our water. And again, they fulfill a wide variety of functions. I mentioned before that they help provide the building material for our bones, that they influence our muscle and nerve function. Some of these act like electrolytes, so they can help with the body's water balance. And minerals are also compounds and components that our hormones and enzymes need in our body. Some minerals have an important role to play in the optimal functioning of our immune system. And if we have a low supply of minerals, this can influence our susceptibility to infection, and it can affect our development of chronic disease. So in looking at multivitamin users, what are their must-haves in looking at their multivitamins? Well, you can see here that the top ones here, specifically to multivitamin users, vitamin C, D, A, and E are in relatively high demand. We have 73% of multivitamin users say that vitamin C is a must-have ingredient, which 28% putting it at their top 3 of the most desired. 76% say vitamin D is a must-have, with 26% putting it at their top 3. We have 64% and 62% say that vitamin A and E are their must-haves, respectively, although only 10 and 8% included in their top spots. Vitamin K is in lower demand, about 41% listed as a must-have for a multivitamin, and 4% put it in their top 3 most desired. I've seen that the awareness and understanding of the benefits of vitamin K are actually increasing among my patient population. I'm starting to get a lot more questions about vitamin C. So I'm curious as to how these statistics are going to play out in the next couple of years in regards to vitamin K as well. So pulling out some of these must-have nutrients that multivitamin consumers are looking for, let's talk about vitamin A. So back in 1928, vitamin A was initially coined the anti-infective vitamin because of its importance in the normal functioning of the immune system. Vitamin A comes in 2 different forms from our body, or from our diet, sorry. It comes in a pre-form, which is found in our animal products, and this is known as retinol. This is preformed, readily usable by the body. And then we have vitamin A that's found in our vegetables, and like our dark green vegetables and our dark orange vegetables and fruits. And these are in the form of beta carotene. Now, this form is known as provitamin A. And what that means is that the body has to convert it into an active, usable form in the body. And when it's in its active form in the body, it's known as retinoic acid. And this retinoic acid can actually be produced by immune cells that live in our skin and in our mucous membranes. And the use of retinoic acid by our cells is critical to maintaining the linings, those mucous membrane linings that exist in our airways, in our digestive tract, and our urinary tract. So these linings, these mucosal covered linings, actually act as barriers, and they form our body's first line of defense against infection. So this retinoic acid helps with the integrity of those linings and their mucous membranes. It's also important for genetic expression, and retinoic acid is actually activated in the body during infection. And there's substantial evidence to suggest that retinoic acid may help prevent the development of autoimmunity. What is the impact of vitamin A deficiency? Deficiency is predominantly in developing countries, and it usually results from inadequate intake of vitamin A, both from animal and plant products. In developing countries, vitamin A deficiency and its associated disorders predominantly affect children and women of reproductive age. Other individuals that could be at risk of vitamin A deficiency are those with poor absorption of fats, or those that have inflammatory bowel diseases like Crohn's disease, along with individuals that have celiac disease. Some of these individuals can have difficulty absorbing fats. So deficiency has also been associated with reduction of the cells in our innate immune system. It was also an impairment of our adaptive immunity, which is the part of our immune system that is responsible for antibody production. There's also been an association of an inadequate intake of vitamin D and a decrease in our white blood cells and impaired T cell function. And again, vitamin A is important in our structural integrity of our skin and those barriers of defense in our immune system. Most of us are familiar with vitamin C's benefits to our immune function. We know that vitamin C is an antioxidant, but vitamin C is also necessary for collagen production, for carnitine use by the body, and along with our neurotransmitters. So vitamin C has another important role as an antioxidant, and then it's been shown to regenerate other antioxidants within the body. An example of this is vitamin E. Vitamin E is also known as an antioxidant, but because it's fat soluble, vitamin E actually works in the cell membrane as an antioxidant because our cell membrane is very rich with lipids, very rich with different kinds of fats. And vitamin C actually does its antioxidant work in our plasma, which is a water-based substance. So when vitamin E does its job in the cell membrane, it actually produces a lot of free radicals as part of its antioxidant activity. And what that causes is a vicious cycle where it can continue to produce free radicals, but also use up the vitamin E that's available as an antioxidant. What vitamin C does is it actually scavenges those free radicals that are formed when vitamin E is doing its job. That way it can help maintain vitamin E's levels in the tissue. There's a high level of content of vitamin C in our neutrophils, which is one of our immune cells. And vitamin C is important in our connective tissue where collagen is formed. We need vitamin C to produce catecholamines and dopamine and epinephrine. And our total body content of vitamin C can range from 300 milligrams to about 2 grams at any time. Now, if our total body content of vitamin C is around 300 milligrams, we're talking probably looking at scurvy at that point, but we can also go all the way up to 2 grams. High levels of vitamin C are utilized in our cells and tissues. Our highest amount is in our white blood cells, also in our eyes, our pituitary gland, and in our brain. Insufficient intake of vitamin C, who's at risk? Elderly, smokers, individuals with mental illness, those with a limited diet and again, conditions with malabsorption. In zeroing in again on smokers, the recommended intake for smokers for vitamin C is 35 milligrams a day higher than the intake recommendation for non-smokers. So when looking at some of the other nutrients of public health concern, we have calcium and vitamin D. On the calcium side, one of the things that I really like to highlight here is that 40 to 60% of our bone growth occurs during our adolescent years. And 90% of our peak bone mass occurs by age 18. So when I talk to my patients about the importance of getting enough calcium while we're young, those periods of growth are critically important because we're really building our bone bank account, because by the time we're age 18, we've built 90% of our bone by that time. So some of these minerals like calcium and vitamin D, magnesium and phosphorus, they help load that bank account while we're growing. And unfortunately, less than 15% of girls in the US meet the RDA for calcium, and 1.5 million fractures occur each year due to osteoporosis. And looking at vitamin D, you can see here in the second line down, I talked before about the interaction of nutrients with each other. Vitamin D increases the absorption of calcium, phosphorus, and magnesium. So if we're having an inadequate intake of vitamin D, it can also affect what's happening downstream with these other minerals. More than 90% of men and women do not consume enough vitamin D, and children and teens intakes are below the RDA. Magnesium is an underconsumed nutrient, and magnesium is in critical importance because it's needed for function of over 300 different enzymes in the body. We need magnesium again to convert vitamin D to its active form. And the interesting thing when it comes to bone health and magnesium, supplementation has been shown to improve bone mineral content in teenage girls that have low intake of magnesium. And potassium is also a nutrient of concern. This is a mineral that's found in all of our body tissues, so it's widespread throughout the body. This particular mineral also acts as an electrolyte in the body, and it's needed for nerve transmission, muscle contraction, hormone secretion, bone and vascular health, but also our cells use potassium for energy production. Again, back to our helper vitamins, our B vitamins. Now, 5 of the 8 B vitamins are responsible for energy production within the cell. So we have mitochondria in our cell. This is known as our powerhouse inside the cell, and this produces all of the energy to keep our bodies functioning every day and all of the systems in our body functioning. And 5 of the 8 B vitamins are inside the mitochondria and are responsible for this energy production within the cell. I mentioned before that they help grow and develop our red blood cells, which are responsible for oxygen transport. We need some of our B vitamins for antioxidant production, and one of those is riboflavin. But B vitamins help with the structure and function of our brain cells, our neurotransmitter synthesis, our regulation of glucose, as well as amino acid synthesis and degradation. And we get our amino acids from proteins. So if you remember, I said that they are energy producing. They are turning the amino acids that we get from our proteins into fuel for us. So again, our B vitamins are energy releasing and blood building. So rounding out tonight, we're going to start talking about the Alive brand of Nature's Way, and specifically Alive multivitamins. These multivitamins were created to give you the energy and support that you need to do all that's important to you. You can get the most from your multivitamin with potent vitamins and minerals and Nature's Way's unique food-based blends, and live every day feeling alive. So what makes Nature's Way Alive products special? Alive multivitamins set a strong foundation for health. They support key aspects of health, including brain function, heart health, muscle function, and healthy skin. Many of the Alive formulas are made with high potency B vitamins, including B6 and B12. And the Alive line of multivitamins also includes a gummy line. There's delicious fruit flavored gummies are also available. We have different categories of multivitamins. We have once daily, we have high potency, and then there are specialized multivitamins. So in the Alive portfolio, many of the products contain 100% or more daily value of key vitamins and minerals. They deliver the full complex of those important B vitamins. They also all contain fruit and vegetable powder blend anywhere from 60 to 200 milligrams per serving, and certain formulas offer a variety of food and botanical-based blends. We have our orchard fruit and garden veggies powder blend. There's daily greens, a cardio blend, digestive enzyme blend, as well as an organic mushroom defense blend. And each formula is uniquely crafted for unique needs. So let's look at a few favorites. Alive Women's Energy Complete Multivitamin is formulated with 100% daily value of 20 essential vitamins and minerals. It also includes boron and lutein. It's packed with high potency B vitamins, and this is designed to support daily cellular energy. Now, lutein is a carotenoid, and this is found in the lens of the eye, if you're not familiar. And lutein, as a carotenoid, actually acts like a blue light filter because it absorbs blue light and prevents it from reaching the fovea, which is a part of the eye that's behind the lens. And the fovea is actually responsible for activities that require that sharp central vision, like reading and driving. So the lutein acts actually as a natural blue light filter. And then we have Nature's Way Alive for women 50 and older. This is also a complete multivitamin that contains 100% or more daily value of 19 essential vitamins and minerals, again, including those important B vitamins. It supports cellular energy, heart health, muscle function, immune health, antioxidant support, and eye health. Now, this is also available in a gummy line, and Nature's Way Gummy Alive is the #1 50 and older multivitamin gummy brand. And looking at the men's line, Alive Men's Energy features 100% daily value or more of the 19 vitamins and minerals, and it also contains that unique orchard and fruits and garden veggies blend. There's also a men's 50 and older complete multivitamin. Again, this also contains 100% or more daily value of the 19 essential vitamins and minerals, along with those B vitamins that we've talked about. Like the women's line, it supports cellular energy, heart health, muscle function, immune health, antioxidant support, as well as eye health. So these are giving you complete nutrition that's easy to add to any existing wellness routine. I mentioned before the gummies line, and so in recent years, gummy multivitamins have exploded for a number of reasons. What's great about Nature's Way gummies is that they taste great, they're fun to take, they're a convenient way to get the benefits of your go-to vitamins without having to swallow capsules or fussing with powders. And all of the gummies made by Nature's Way are made with a plant-based pectin, not animal-based gelatin. You can see here that I have put the men's gummies, the women's gummies. We have a general adult gummy, and then there's kids, young children, along with teens. So for our kids gummies, it's a delicious daily gummy multivitamin that's formulated for kids 2 and older. It's made with 15 essential vitamins and minerals for growing kids, including the full B vitamin complex. It supports eye health, bone health, immune health, and cellular energy for kids. And this also has the orchard fruits and garden veggies powder blend. It contains grape, orange, and cherry flavored gummies. In the teen line, there's a boys and a girls, and it's a complete daily multivitamin that contains something called Glutamax 2020. And to give you a hint on what that is, you see that there's a smartphone on the front of the label. Glutamax 2020 is another blend of carotenoids that help shield and filter blue light from the sun, from LED, and from digital devices. Now, I know that I'm always fighting with my kids to get off the screens, and you can bet that I have, my daughter is 15, you can bet that I have the Align Teen multivitamin in our cabinet for her. These also support cellular energy, heart health, immune and eye health, and they have antioxidant support from vitamins A, C, and E. It contains 17 vitamins and minerals, and again, the full B complex. And these are citrus burst flavored and fruit punch flavored gummies. And these also, like the other multivitamins, contain that orchard fruit and garden veggies blend powder. And looking at our specialized Alive gummies, we have the Alive Beauty Support Hair, Skin, and Nails gummies. And these are for supporting lustrous hair, strong nails, and healthy skin. And these contain hydrolyzed collagen, biotin, and antioxidants, vitamin C and E. These also contain that orchard fruit and garden veggies blend. And the gummies contain no dairy, no yeast-derived ingredients, wheat, soy, peanuts, or eggs, and they have a delicious strawberry flavor. Another specialized gummy vitamin is the calcium and vitamin D3. This, with the combination of these two nutrients, supports healthy bones and muscles and immune health. Each serving provides 520 milligrams of calcium and 50 micrograms of vitamin D3. It's also sweetened with tapioca syrup and cane sugar. It's strawberry and raspberry lemonade flavored. So some key takeaways from tonight that I think would be really helpful to remember is that Alive multivitamins cater to a broad range of life stages, including children, teens, women, prenatal, women 50 and older, men, and men 50 and older. All of the Alive multivitamins contain the food-based orchard fruit and garden veggies blend, anywhere from 60 milligrams to 600 milligrams per serving. And the Alive Adult Multivitamin Gummies provide 100% daily value of the B vitamin complex, including the important B6, B12, and folate vitamins. And again, for those vegetarians out there, Alive multivitamins are made with plant-based pectin, the gummies, not animal-based gelatin. And the Alive multivitamins are gluten-free and dairy-free. And now, are there any questions?
All right, so we've reached that point now where we're going to find out about questions. So we'd like to invite questions from the audience. You may type your questions in the QA box. You may also send them via the live stream on Facebook. And you can feel free to ask your questions in Dutch or Papiamento. And of course, we have Rona Dakoff. She's with us to assist with the translation if the questions come in one of those languages so that Amy can understand it in English. So the floor is open to you for questions now. Okay, so Rona, you have your first question?
Yes,
Yes.
you go ahead.
Yeah. When is a good age to start taking multivitamins?
My answer to that is I love the fact that gummy vitamins exist. A lot of times the patients that I see in my practice, we have a lot of picky eaters. We have some children that have aversions to anything that's green. And it's very helpful to have a gummy line so that you can start them as early as 3. Obviously, you know, with the choking hazard, most gummy vitamins are not recommended for children under 2. So obviously an individualized nutrition, I would look at the patient, but it's safe and it's helpful to start as young as 3.
Very nice, very nice. We have another question for you there, Amy. Are the tablets more effective than the gummies?
I wouldn't say they're more effective. I think that what you would have to look at are the daily values. It depends on the amount that you're getting. Because of the taste of certain minerals, some minerals are really hard to package in a gummy vitamin and have them still taste good. So it depends on the amount. You find that you can often get a higher potency with the tablets or the capsules. So it depends on what you're looking for individually.
Very nice, very nice. What about mixing? Can I mix gummy vitamins with other vitamins that I might be taking?
You would have to look at the labels, and you'd have to also understand what the upper limits are for some nutrients. Some nutrients have an upper limit for safety concerns. So you want to make sure that if you're taking B vitamins in one supplement, what's the daily value? What's the amount that's in the other supplement? So you absolutely can take multiple types of vitamins, minerals, and supplements. It's just important that you read the label and that you understand what are the safe and tolerable amounts for you to take. Even with things like water-soluble vitamins. With our vitamin C, if you take really high doses of vitamin C, you can actually have diarrhea. So it's just important to be aware of those things. And you can, I'm sure you can also ask your health practitioner as well, and they can tell you what those limits are.
Right, right. So if a person is very lethargic and realizing they need to take multivitamins, how long does it take for supplements to actually work?
I have told my patients to give it at least 3 months because it depends on the degree of what their intake is on a daily basis with their diet, but also if they do have inadequate supply of the nutrient in their body, let's say it's magnesium, it could take up to 3 months for those nutrient stores to be repleted. So I always say give it a good 3 months to see how your energy levels. And some patients say, I've been doing this for 4 weeks and I feel amazing. And some patients, it can take a little bit longer.
Yeah, quite true. Okay, so now in the Caribbean area, we've had a serious problem with diabetes. So which vitamins would you recommend for diabetics?
Well, I would absolutely recommend a multivitamin. Magnesium is very important for individuals with diabetics. We know that there's a lot of vascular complications with individuals that have diabetes as well. Magnesium is one of my go-tos. I love magnesium. I have a picture of magnesium framed in my office. Sometimes I come in and I hug it because it's such an important mineral as well.
What about other supplements? Do you have other supplements other than the multivitamins that you recommend?
I do. I practice individualized nutrition. So I don't believe that there's a one-size-fits-all recommendation for everyone. Sometimes what I will look at is some of the questions I ask are, how is your stress? How is your sleep? How is your bowel regularity? Those are all things that I ask. For women, I want to know their hormone status. All of those things are important to individualize. Sometimes I will actually add in herbs and botanicals as well, but it's all individualized.
Right. So now we have a couple of questions as well coming in. If you're already taking other vitamins and mineral supplements, is it okay to add these? Or do I have to stop those and start with Alive only? I mean, would you recommend that mixing or?
I'm not sure I understand the question. Are they taking another multivitamin or other supplements?
They're taking another multivitamin and minerals, and they want to know whether they should stop that and take Alive, or can they take them together?
Well, it's not really necessary to take 2 separate multivitamins. So if you're going to switch, then I'd go cold turkey, and I would cease what you're taking and start with Alive.
Right. Right, right. Okay. We have a question from Rachel Seals. Can I get some information about Alive Immune?
I'm going to defer that to James. James is one of our on the sales team with Nature's Way, and I know that he has that information. James, you want to take this one?
Yeah, absolutely. We offer an Alive Immune product in both tablet and gummy form. And Howard, if that's not part of your portfolio already today, we can certainly explore.
Okay, so for Rachel Seals, I'd like to suggest that if you can send an email in requesting further information, we could be happy to assist you with that, and of course arrange for you to get some Alive Immune if necessary. Okay. So here we have another question. You heard about diabetics, but of course the Caribbean is also known for athletes. So which vitamin is best recommended for athletes?
Oh, many. There are many. You heard me mention that iron is necessary for many endurance athletes. First, I would take a look at the diet of that athlete. I've worked with several athletes at the local university here that are in endurance sports. They might be on the track team, and many times for them it starts with making sure that they're getting enough energy from calories. We also know that magnesium, I keep saying magnesium, but again, it's my favorite. Magnesium is necessary for muscle function. And I also want to make sure that that individual has adequate vitamin D. They're going to use a lot of vitamin C because immune function can be affected if they are not getting enough energy and if they are overtraining. So those are important. I'm also, what's important to me, because there can be inflammation associated with overtraining, what's important to me are what are the fatty acids in their diet? Are they getting enough omega-3 fatty acids? So those are some of the things that are important to me.
I know you're in love with magnesium, so we have a question. How much magnesium do you recommend? What's the recommended daily allowance or dosage?
Well, that's not an easy question to answer because there are different types of magnesium. I'll go through a few of them. One we have is magnesium citrate. Magnesium citrate is often used along with magnesium oxide. It's not my favorite, but magnesium citrate is often used in individuals that have slow bowel movements. So maybe they're a constipated patient. So the dosage for that, a lot of times we'll titrate up. We'll start at a low dose and slowly increase the dose until that individual responds. We also have magnesium glycinate, and that is a form that is actually often helpful for individuals that have extreme amounts of stress or anxiety, because glycinate helps it cross into the brain and provide a calming effect. We have magnesium malate, which is very helpful for individuals that might have muscle pain or muscle weakness. And then there's another form, there's several, but another one is magnesium threonate. And magnesium threonate can often be used especially for focus. It crosses the blood-brain barrier, so it can affect the brain a little more significantly than some of the others. And I'll use that in my patients that really need assistance with focus and attention. So my ADHD patients respond very well to magnesium threonate. Magnesium glycinate can be helpful for sleep. So it just depends on the individual and what they need.
Right. Okay. Understand. We have Aaron. He's asking a question. Tell us a little bit specifically the functions of vitamin E.
Vitamin E is necessary for also its immune health because it's an antioxidant. So it helps quench free radicals in the body, which can lead to inflammation. It is also necessary for skin and wound repair.
Okay. Now, Rika has asked, do you have these vitamins in liquid form for the elderly or patients who have problems swallowing?
I know that I've seen in a live liquid. James, do you want to expand on that?
Yeah, we have a limited portfolio in the liquid range. It's not non-gender specific, so we have an Alive liquid multivitamin in that range. We have a liquid magnesium product. We have a liquid calcium product. So yeah, we have several liquid version products.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much. We have a question now about persons with that are hypertensive, high blood pressure. What vitamins and minerals would you recommend for them?
Vitamin D is important for that. Calcium is also important. Magnesium is important for vascular health. It's actually works as a vasodilator. I also will use some different herbs for that as well. But in terms of vitamins, those are some of my favorites. And our omega-3 fatty acids, because those are anti-inflammatory nutrients too.
I'm curious about the herbs you'd recommend.
Well, I love garlic. There is another product that is actually made from seaweed that affects the glycocalyx, which is the lining inside our blood vessels that's important for blood vessel health. So some of those are important to me.
Very nice, very nice. So now, would Alive be which one of the Alives would you recommend for an adult 48 years of age? So they're not 50 as yet.
So they're not 15 yet?
50, not 50.
Not 50. Okay, so 40?
48.
48. Well, if it's a male, there is the men's energy, and there's also the men's ultra potency, and then there, if it's a woman, there's the same in that exact same line.
Right. Very nice, very nice. And you mentioned 15. So again, what about can a 15-year-old take the max multivitamins?
That would be something we'd have to look at the label. James, do you know what the age range is for the max?
I don't off the top of my head. I think the energy is labeled for 12 and over, but I'm not sure specifically about the max products.
Okay.
We can certainly follow up on that.
Okay.
So I have an interesting question. What of the Alive vitamins best recommend for a person who suffers with PCOS? Do you know what that is?
Yes, I do. Polycystic ovarian syndrome. So a multivitamin is important there. Women that have PCOS, a lot of times there's an insulin concern. It's very insulin driven. They can be insulin resistant. So some of the nutrients that would be important in someone that is diabetic or pre-diabetic would also be helpful with someone with PCOS. Again, magnesium, I'm a broken record about that. But our omega-3 fatty acids, because they're very important for our hormone health. Our vitamin C as well, but also there's a nutrient that's called myoinositol that can be very helpful with the ovary response to insulin. But in terms of the good all-around multivitamin is important just for general health.
Right, excellent. Very good questions. All right, so here's an interesting question for you. I mean, I know that you're a professional, you've been working in private practice. Why Nature's Way?
Well, I was originally introduced to Nature's Way through their sister company, which is Integrative Therapeutics. I did a lot of content development and editing of their technical data sheets. And Integrative Therapeutics is the practitioner side. And I did some of their claim substantiation. And because I work with Integrative Therapeutics, I was introduced to the Nature's Way team, and which is the retail side, obviously, that you know. And what I love about Nature's Way is their philosophy when it comes to quality. It's very important to me. When I have a patient come in, I have them bring in all the supplements they're taking, anything over the counter or anything that's been prescribed. And I'm happy when I see the Nature's Way brand, because I know that if it's a botanical, then the company has relationships with its growers. And it's very important, the quality, the sourcing of the product, the ingredient in the product, the manufacturing process, all of the quality control exists from start to finish, from source to shelf with Nature's Way. And that's important to me. Also, Nature's Way is owned by a German company called Schwabe. Dr. Chinfat and I were discussing earlier that we like that because we know that in Germany that there are some stricter regulations, but also there's a wider use of these products. So many of the ingredients and the products are vetted over in Germany according to those standards before they're brought to the United States. So having that that backing is really a significant thing.
Yeah, Yeah, yeah. I just like to explore that thought you just raised about having a relationship with the growers. Why is that so important?
It's important that you know how a product, number one, the soil quality, how the product is grown, how it's harvested, and how long the product has been, or by the time it reaches the manufacturing plant, how long it's been sitting in storage, because things can lose potency once they've been harvested, and also knowing that the product is not adulterated.
Right, right. Excellent, excellent. I see James came back with a response on the Alive Men's Ultra Potency. He says the label does not specify a minimum age. It simply states men take 1 tablet. So I suppose if you say you have a 15-year-old, it's how large this 15-year-old is, a big 15 or a small 15?
That's a great point, because the multivitamin dosing of things is not just based on age, but it's also based on weight of the individual.
Yeah.
So the average is based on 150-pound
adult. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So we have some big 15s that would comfortably be able to go with an adult dose.
Yes.
Excellent. All right. Well, I think we have exhausted all our questions. And so at this point, what I'd like to do is thank you, Amy, for your truly enlightening presentation.
You're welcome.
Yep. I'd also like to thank all of you that were present for this webinar. Additionally, there are persons that attended from Aruba, Bonaire, and Curaçao. Your names have been entered into a raffle, and the winner's name will be announced on the Facebook pages of Nature's Discount Aruba, or Nature's Discount Bonaire, or Nature's Discount Curaçao. So please look out tomorrow for your names, and the prizes would be, guess what? Alive Men, Women, or Children's Gummies. So finally, on behalf of the sponsors, Nature's Way, and the hosts, H&J Enterprises and Nature's Discount and Aruba agencies, we'd like to thank you all for attending, and we truly appreciate it. And we want to encourage you to please have a safe and a wonderful, pleasant remainder of the night tonight. So again, good night.
Good night.
Amy, a real pleasure.
Thanks,
James.
Thank you, Howard. Thank you, Amy.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay.
Good night.
Okay, bye-bye.